All right, moving into the modern client enhancements. We've got enable cloud printing on mobile app, and this is for your phone and tablet. We kind of talked about it earlier,
Yep.
but one thing to note is that you can also print from Microsoft Teams.
Yep.
Let's say you got Business Central open in Microsoft Teams on your app. You can actually print from Teams to a printer.
Yep.
And next up, as always, client performance improvements. So to increase performance on the Roll Center pages, the entire page is not going to load, I guess, as it has in the past. Only what you see on the screen is what will load, and as you scroll down, the rest will load. So initially, when you first get to that page, it should load pretty quick.
Yep.
Next up, usability enhancements for Business Central Web Client. So I guess drilling down into most records is going to be easier because I guess you can just double click the empty space and drill down or open it up or whatnot.
Yeah, and then working when you have a reduced browser width or zoomed in screens, better look and feel. So these are just some little things that's like people are used to, right? When you open a list page, you just want to double click on that line and have it launch. So it'll just whatever the default page action is when you on that page, when you double click on it, that's what will happen. So on most like list pages, it'll just launch the card.
Gotcha. Next up, users can change the assigned printer before printing a report. Pretty self-explanatory, I guess.
Yeah, and it says this only applies to cloud-enabled printers. So this kind of gets into the cloud printing solution when you're in the app. It's kind of hard to believe you couldn't change a printer in that scenario beforehand, but apparently you couldn't.
I couldn't tell you. I never tried it, I guess. All right, next we've got Report API allows passing the layout needed for report execution. I will happily defer to you on this one.
So when you're generating the report, you could actually have different layouts available for the same report. There's a table called report layout selections, and it's possible to have different layouts. So now they're saying the user, like for example, sales order, you could have 3 different sales order layouts. Mm-hmm. One of them is the default, that's the one that's always going to print. This allows you to set that as you're actually printing it.
Oh, okay.
And this is one of those that I'm not sure how many people actually use multiple report layouts.
Right.
For things like if I have an invoice.
Usually
I have one invoice that I use across the board. So,
but it's there if you need it, I guess.
If you're using it, yep.
All right.
Someone asked for it.
Next up, we got reports run in the background, so you can basically just continue to work as this system runs the report for you.
Right. Yep. And then, so what happens is then the report runs in the background because some reports, if you have a 50 gigabyte database. And millions of inventory transactions. When you run your inventory valuation report, it's got a lot of data it's got to crank through, right? So it's not going to be 5 seconds. So what this does is it just kicks that report into the background. You keep working.
Yeah.
Who cares how long it takes now?
Right.
What happens now, you'll get a notification that says your report is ready. And then it's sitting on your Roll Center in the reports inbox.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right.
And that's one of my favorites.
It is one of your favorites. I missed it, yeah.
Why? Because think about someone who's in the accounting department, for example, and they're at month end, and they have to run a bunch of reports, reconcile AP, AR, inventory, blah, 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 right? Run all these reports. If you're sitting there waiting for those reports to generate, you're just sitting there, right?
Can't do anything
waiting. I guess you could have another session open, but this just makes it easier, and you're significantly more efficient.
Definitely.
By